All right, guys, here we go. Big section, all right? Big section 3-6 talks about parallel lines in the coordinate plane. Okay, so we're going to start to really get some real ties to algebra in this section, okay? So if you liked Algebra 1, then you're probably going to like this section. It's probably going to be very easy for you. If you weren't a big fan of algebra, I'm hoping that you'll like it a little bit more this time. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the coordinate plane. Here's your coordinate plane, okay? Here are your quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your origin is here. Okay, your x-axis goes sideways, all right? Your y-axis goes up and down. And we're going to take 2 points, maybe one right there and one right there. And I'm not going to give you numbers. I'm going to tell you that this one is x1 comma y1, so some x and some y, and this is some other x and some other y. And you know, you could make a line that goes through those points, okay? And what we want to do is we want to find what's called the slope of the line, okay? Slope, and slope is equal to rise over run, okay? Rise over run. Sometimes people will look at it this way. You could look at it either way, okay? But the rise goes in the top, the difference in the y direction, okay? And then the difference in the x direction. Sometimes people will call this delta y over delta x. And what that means is, it means the change in y divided by the change in x. But the formula that you guys probably know and will see most often, that we'll use the most, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you take the difference of your y's, that goes in your numerator. You take the difference of your x's, that goes in your denominator. So if I gave you 2 points, say 0, 6, and we'll say 5, 2, okay? And this one we'll call x1, y1, and this one will be called x2, y2, and we want to find the slope. Okay, m is the letter that they use for slope, and we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it looks like when I do this out, I get negative 4 over 5. That is my slope. Okay, that's the slope of the line. Negative 4 over 5. Okay. All right. I'll slide up too high, be out of the view. Negative 1, 6, and 4, negative 2. I want you guys to please find the slope. Okay, so you got to let one of these be x1, y1. Just to show you it doesn't matter, I'm going to make this one x2 and y2 and make that x1 and y1, because it doesn't matter which point you pick to be x1, y1 or x2, y2. It doesn't matter. All right, so y2 is 6 minus y1, a negative 2, over x2, which is negative 1, minus x1, which is 4. So it looks like I get 8 over negative 5, and we would call that negative 8/5. If you look at a line that has a negative slope, it's going to go down as you look at it from left to right. If you look at a line that goes like this, up, as you look at it from left to right, that's a positive slope, okay? If you have this, a horizontal line, in that situation, your slope is equal to 0. And then when you have a vertical line, it's called no slope. These two things are different, okay? You have to know that, all right? There's no slope here, there's 0 slope here, okay? No slope, slope is equal to 0. Those two are two different ideas, all right? Now, why are we talking about it in this section? Well, here's why. In a coordinate plane, Okay, so if we're talking about a coordinate plane like we just talked about, okay, two non-vertical lines, vertical lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. So the way that people normally think of that is parallel lines have the same slope. Okay, now the reason they say it that way is because any two vertical lines are parallel. Any two vertical lines are parallel. So if you choose to think of this long, wordy definition that you'll find in the book as parallel lines have the same slope, you're going to be just fine. Okay, you will be just fine. So I'm going to show you guys a picture, and I'm going to show you that when they give you your slopes as a picture, you can actually count to find your slope. Okay? So if they gave me this picture here, and they wanted me to find the slope, well, you've got to go, whenever you're finding the slope, I always pick the point on the left and say, how do I get to the point on the right? I don't usually do it the way that the book does it. I pick this point and I go up first and then I go over. So for this one I go up 1, 2, 3, 4 and over 2. So my slope would be 4 over 2 or 2 for that one. In this one I go up 2 and to the right 1. So that's going to be 2 over 1. Are the lines parallel? Yes, they are. Let's look down here. Now again, when I count these out, okay, I always pick the point that's on the left, the leftmost point. That's where I start. So if I start with this one and I want to count the slope to get there, I have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I go down 5. This is the green line. Down 5 and over 2. So it's a negative 5/2 for my slope. I go up or down, I always go to the right. Okay? If I go up, it's a positive slope. If I go down, it's a negative slope. So for the green, it's negative 5 over 2. Let's look at the red. I have to pick the point on the left and go to the point on the right. This is the leftmost point. So I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and over 2. So the red one looks like that's negative 5/2 as well. Let's check out the blue one. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 2. Down 6 and over 2. So if they say, are any of those lines parallel? Yes. The red one is parallel to the green one. And this is not parallel to either of those. Okay? So you could also, just use your slope formula. But when they give it to you in a coordinate plane like that, I wanted to show you how to count. Most times when you see problems like this, they're going to give you a problem, and it's going to be like 5, 3, negative 1, 4, find the slope. Okay, so then you would go 4 minus 3. Now if I start here with my y2, then this has to be x2. You can't do y2 minus y1 and x1 minus x2. If you do that, you will be wrong. So if I start with this as my y2, then this has to be x2. So then I do negative 1 minus 5, and I get 1 over negative 6, which is negative 1/6. Okay? So now we are going to look at ways to write equations of lines. Okay, again, another review from the stuff that you guys did last year, and then maybe even the year before that, based on where you guys are at. Okay, writing equations of, I'm going to write lines. In the book they say parallel lines, but we're not there yet. We're just going to start by writing equations of lines. 2 things you need. This is huge. You can write this down. Very important. 2 things you need for an equation of the line M and B, slope and y-intercept. Those are the 2 things that you need for an equation of a line. If you have those 2 things, you can write an equation of a line. Now, some of the early problems, they'll say, find an equation of the line, and then they might say number 1, where m is 4 and b is -3. Well, boy, oh boy, I could probably teach my pug how to do this one, okay? Because all you have to do is plug the numbers in, okay? Slope-intercept form looks like this: y equals mx plus b. That is slope-intercept form. There's no work to do. If they give you the slope and they give you the y-intercept, you plug them into those two spots and then you walk away. Y equals 4x minus 3. There's your equation of a line. Okay? So if they give you the slope, they give you the y-intercept, you just put them in. Just put them in. It's not harder than that. It isn't. Okay? I'm not even going to give you one to practice like that. You might get some in your homework, but yeah, who needs to practice that, right? You just put in the number. That goes where m is, that goes where b is. So write an equation of the line, okay? And then they'll say something like this. Through, and they give you a point, and then they say, and slope equal to 5. So what are the two things that we need for an equation of a line? Slope and y-intercept. Well, they give me the slope, but they don't give me the y-intercept. But they give me some things that I can help me find the y-intercept, okay? So this is an x, this is a y. It's only 1 point on that line, but if I use that with my slope, I can find that y-intercept. So I write y equals mx plus b. My y is 3, my slope is 5, my x is 2 plus b. 3 equals 10 plus b, minus 10 minus 10. b is a -7. So my equation now is y equals 5x minus 7. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? I'm going to give you guys one like that. All right? So we're on number 3. So let's say I said it passes through -1, 6, and m equals 2. Please, please, please pause the video and try it. Pause the video and try. Okay, so this is an x, this is a y, that's m, we have to find b. Y equals mx plus b. My y is 6, my m is 2, my x is -1. 6 equals -2 plus b. Add 2, it looks like b is 8. So y equals 2x plus 8. Okay, and then what they're going to do is they're going to say something like this. Line 1 is equal to y equals -1/3 x minus 1. Line 2 is parallel to line 1 and passes through 3, 5, we'll say. Find an equation of the line. Okay, so line 1 is y equals -1/3 x minus 1. Line 2 is parallel to line 1 and passes through 3, 5. What are the two things that we need for an equation of a line? Slope and y-intercept. In this case, they don't give us either of them. Okay, they don't give us the slope, they don't give us the y-intercept. We have to find both of those things. But it says that line 2 is parallel to line 1. So what does that mean? What does it mean when lines are parallel? Well, it means that they have the same slope. So I could say that m is equal to the same slope here So that slope is negative 1/3. So the new line has to have the same slope. So that slope is negative 1/3. It passes through 3, 5. That's an x. That's a y. We got to go to y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. Y is 5. My slope is negative 1/3. My x is 3 plus b. 5 equals. If you multiplied negative 1/3 times 3 over 1, you get negative 3 over 3, and that's equal to a negative 1 plus b. Add 1, b equals 6. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 6. There's my equation. Okay, I know it's parallel to that because they have the same slope. Okay, so I'll give you guys one like that to try, and that'll finish section 3-6 for us. So let's say line 1 is y equals 2x minus 5. Line 2 passes through negative 1, negative 3, and is parallel to line 1. I want you guys to find an equation for line 2. Okay? Pause the video and give it a shot. Okay, so I hope you paused the video and gave that one a try. We're going to take a look at it, okay? So if it's parallel to this line, it means it has the same slope. So the slope of this line is 2, so the slope of my new line is 2. My point that it passes through is negative 1, negative 3, and that's an x, and that's a y. So when I go to y equals mx plus b, my y is negative 3, my m is 2, my x is negative 1 plus b, negative 3 equals negative 2 plus b, add 2, b is negative 1. My equation is y equals 2x minus 1. Okay, so that wraps up 3-6. Good section, I like 3-6. I like 3-7 too, because it has a lot of ties to algebra, so it helps tie the two courses together. Hopefully you guys like it too. I hope that's a good explanation. You guys can give some problems a shot. All right?